Welcome to my channel Lenovate. Today we will going to discuss about some of the basic concepts about the circulatory system and the types and different parts of the circulatory system. Plus we will going to discuss the distribution of the blood flow and the basic principles of the circulatory system. So, starting from this circulatory system, that is a major blood flow system inside the body. So, the circulatory system is divided into the two parts. If we take a broad classification of circulatory system, there are two classifications, including the systemic circulation and the pulmonary circulation. As you see in the diagram, there is shown a pulmonary circulation and the systemic circulation. The pulmonary circulation is very much related to the circulation that is giving the blood flow towards the lungs, and that circulation having the decreased pressure than the systemic circulation, while that of the systemic circulation is going to supply whole the system of the body from the heart. The blood flow through all the system of body is passed through systemic circulation, and the systemic circulation is a major part of the circulatory system, plus the systemic circulation having a high pressure blood flow through the systemic circulation. Now we are going to discuss the parts. We are going to discuss the parts of the circulatory system. So here it is shown the diagram of a systemic circulation. The various and the major functional part of the systemic circulation includes the artery. The artery that is coming out from the heart having the oxygenated blood, and this artery having the thicker wall, and the pressure inside the artery is greater than the veins. Then the blood flow from arteries to the less diameter extending arterioles. The arterioles are lesser diameter than the artery, and they act as a constraint of the blood flow and carrying the blood from the artery to the capillary. The arteriole then connected to a capillary bed. This capillary bed having a very much permeability to water and solutes, so there is a easy exchange between the systemic circulation and the body fluid, and various amount of electrolytes, the nutrients and the hormones can be reabsorbed and excreted through the capillary exchange wall. So this major function of capillary is to exchange the nutrients between the ECF and the blood flow. Now when the blood is become clear or it become exchangeable, then there will be a formation of a venule, that is the out from the capillary is the venule, and venule are also the collecting ducts, but they having a lesser diameter than the veins, and these venules while going to enter into the vein that having the larger diameter than the venules, but this vein having the deoxygenated blood is going to supply ultimately towards the heart. Then the heart will going to cause the oxidation of the blood from the lungs, and then there will be a systemic supply to the whole body. But one more important thing about the veins is that the pressure in the vein is less than the artery, because the artery is just rushing of the blood flow. That's why the blood pressure in the artery is greater, while that the pressure in the vein is lesser than the artery. So the artery, the arteriole, then the capillary, the venule, vein, and ultimately the heart. These are the functional part of the systemic circulatory system that we should have to remember for understanding of the complete circulatory system. Now coming to the distribution of blood in these parts of the circulatory system. So coming again to the same diagram that we have discussed earlier, here it is shown the distribution of the blood flow in percentage in the functional part of the systemic circulation and inside the pulmonary circulation. So here it is shown the heart having the oxygenated blood on the one side of heart and the deoxygenated blood on the right side of the heart. When the blood comes from the superior vena cava and from the inferior vena cava, there is a deoxygenated blood, and it will goes towards the pulmonary circulation, that having the 9% of the whole blood. From the pulmonary circulation, the oxygenated blood come inside the heart and go to the aorta and the major arteries, having the 13% of the blood distribution. Then the arteries will go to pass into the smaller diameter arterioles that will going to supply in the capillaries. The capillaries having a 7% of the total blood flow. From the capillaries, the blood is giving oxygenated, and the blood having the nutrients is going to supply into the veins. The larger veins and the venules having the blood flow about 64%. Then from the veins and the venules, the blood is going to supply again towards the heart. So this is a circulatory system including the pulmonary circulatory system and the systemic circulatory system. By combining the all functional part of the systemic circulatory system, the common heart blood flow is about 84% in systemic circulation, while that of the 9% in the pulmonary circulation, and the 7% of the blood that is remaining is present inside the heart, and it is always present and accumulated and draining inside the heart. So 7% of the blood flow remain inside the heart. So this is a distribution of the blood flow in different functional parts of the systemic circulation and the pulmonary circulation. Now we are coming to some of the important and the major physiological principles of the circulation that we have to know for further explaining of the circulatory system. So I have summarized 3 of the major important principles of the circulatory system in the 3 major points. So you should get easily remember about that points. Now the first point or the first principle of the circulatory system inside the body is the blood flow to the tissues are directly proportional to the tissue need. That means that the blood flow through all the tissues of the body, including the lungs, including the kidney, including the blood vessels, including the heart and other tissues of the body, is directly proportional to the need of the blood flow in the tissue. For example, in exercise, the tissues of the body become highly metabolic, and the increased metabolic rate will going to cause the increased tissue need of the oxygen, and tissue need of the blood flow is also increased. So the blood flow will also increase to that particular tissue where the tissue need is increased. So this is a directly proportional relationship between the tissue need and the blood flow to that tissue. The second principle said that the cardiac output, that is the total amount of the blood pumped by the heart in each minute, is equal to the all local blood flow. The all local blood flow through all the tissues of the body is ultimately equal to the heart pump the blood in 1 minute. That is the cardiac output. The third and the last major principle of the circulatory system in the body is that the arterial pressure, that is the pressure in the walls of the arteries exerted by the walls of arteries, is independent of the either the blood flow and the cardiac output. The blood pressure that is not dependent on the blood flow of the body and the cardiac output of the blood flow to tissue and the cardiac output of the body is not directly related with the arterial pressure. The arterial pressure will not dependent on the above two principles, but the arterial pressure of the body is dependent on the neurological feedback mechanism that control the blood flow through the vasoconstriction, through the production of ATH through the kidneys and other neurological mechanisms that occur in the body in condition of the increased blood flow or increase the resistance to the arteries. So the arterial pressure is independent of the blood flow and the cardiac output. So these are 3 major principles of the physiological characteristic of the circulatory system of the heart and circulatory functions. I hope you did explain well. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more. And if you have any query, comment below.